Hello, everyone. Welcome back to In the Yard Podcast with your host, Collin and Braeden Cox. As we approach the end of April, it is April 30th. May 1st is tomorrow because there's 30 days in April. So that means we're about 1 month into the baseball season. And like Braeden and I have been giving you weekly, we're going to give you a quick update, our reactions, our biggest surprises, whether it's a player, a team, and everything in between. So Braeden and I are going to get right into it here on In the Yard. So, Brandon, I think you said you wanted to start with the NL side of things. Nothing too crazy going on in NL. We got the Braves, who we knew was going to be good, the Phillies, who we knew, the Dodgers. We were kind of behind the D-backs this year. They haven't been doing super hot, but they're definitely not out of it at all by any means. So, yeah, just give me your biggest surprise or what you want to talk about, whether it's divisions, team, player, and on the NL side of things.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say the thing that jumps off the page as I just look at standings is as predicted here on In the Yard, the NL Central is incredibly competitive thus far. We have the Cubs at 18 and 11, the Brewers are a half game behind, the Reds two behind them, and then the Cardinals and Pirates four and a half back respectfully. Um it it's really tough to gauge who's like good there. The Cubs look good.
Yeah, they do.
You know, again, like I said, the Cardinals and the Pirates, four and a half back, respectively. But it's still anybody's race at this point. I mean, the Pirates are just like they, you know, caught lightning in a bottle to start the season. I feel like we talk about this every week on
Hmm.
In the Yard, every
Yeah,
season.
you're
The
right.
Pirates seem to have a stretch where it's like, whoa, this team looks good, and then law of averages comes into play and they kind of fall back to earth. But I would say this division's probably between the Cubs, Brewers, and Reds. I still like my Reds pick. They're only 2 games back. Uh, they're 6-4 in their last 10. They've been playing decent ball. I'll for sure take my chances there with my Reds
Yeah,
pick.
He's
And
getting hot too. I saw
yeah,
hitting a lot
yeah,
of home
yeah,
runs, stealing a lot of bases, kind of like the Ronald Acuna Jr. style play.
yeah. They have a good run differential as well, plus 24.
Yeah. I think it does
But
not lead
another thing,
that leads the Central. It looks like.
yeah, that does lead the Central by a decent margin too. So, um, yeah, we'll see what happens there. I think we all, most baseball fans went into the season as like this division is going to be kind of hard to pick because you don't really know
Hmm.
what you're going to get. We all thought the Brewers were going to take a step back because they did lose their ace in Corbin Burns, but they're 17 and 11, right?
Yeah,
Like you can't deny the numbers. A month into the season is still a small sample size for the total number of games that are going to be played in the season, but it's large enough to kind of be able to pick out who is somewhat of a contender versus a pretender. And I would say Cubs, Brewers, Reds are all at this point not in that pretender category yet. We'll see in another month what the records look like, but yeah, I mean, I'm still comfortable with my Reds pick. I'm not sure about you. Maybe you're thinking like, oh, I wish I would have rode with my Cubbies like you did last season, but we'll see what happens.
yeah. I'm still picking the Reds. I mean, mostly because I don't really want to switch up from our preseason
No,
picks
yeah, I'm
just
not
yet.
saying we switch up, but yeah,
Um, but yeah, the biggest surprise to me, I think I want to say, is the Cubs. So far, I know, like you said, it's early, but to me, like they really made one big offseason move, but it's been so far probably the best offseason move out of any
oh
teams.
yeah,
Shota Imanaga, I think he has like 4 starts now, probably let up like 1 or 2 earned runs total. I don't know what the
yeah,
exact numbers are, but pretty much when he's on the mound, it seems like it's an automatic win for the Cubs. So that was a great pickup there. And then Christopher Morel kind of starting to hit. Bellinger, he's gonna get hot eventually. Um, and then I think Ian Happ, I saw he's like top 5 in win probability added, actually.
okay,
So they must be just getting stringing together the right hits. Um,
yeah,
and yeah, just kind of rolling with their between their pitching. They still got Justin Steele, so he's solid as well. So yeah, I think so far to me the Cubs, even though they didn't make many moves this offseason, they made one big one and it seems to be working out for them pretty well, and they're kind of rolling here. So they are exceeding my expectations, but I'm still going to roll with the Reds just because we had them in the preseason. I think the Reds had a lot of injuries to start the season too.
it's
So I
true.
feel like once these guys come back, they'll be able to get really hot and roll from there. But yeah, like you said, it's completely up in the air right now with the NL Central. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I look at who the Cubs have played, and there's quality opponents in here. It's not like, oh, well, they haven't faced like the best in the league yet. They played the Rangers. They played the Dodgers. They had a series with San Diego. They played Seattle. They played Arizona. They've played the Houston Astros. I mean, I know that they've fallen off, but still, like we look at them as still like a very good ball club, right? So like they have a lot of quality wins in there. It's not like they're just
Mhm.
beating up on like the Pirates or the Marlins every single week. They have quality wins. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. Like you said, I'm not shying away from the Reds at this point. But it's cool to see the Cubs playing well in the city of Chicago, whilst their counterpart on the South Side is not
Yeah.
playing up
The
to
worst
standards, I
ball,
guess you
the
could say.
worst ball in years we've seen from since we've been watching. It seems
Yeah.
for the White
So at
Sox.
least there's something to talk about. It's not like that you have one really bad and one average ball club. It's,
Yeah.
it looks like you've got one that right now is a playoff team. So
Yeah. And then one more note: Shota Imanaga. He has 5 starts, 4 wins, three earned runs in 27.2 innings pitched,
that's
which
crazy.
equates to a .98 ERA. He's been definitely balling this season. I think he's
Yeah.
definitely exceeded expectations so far.
Yeah. Only other thing I'll note as like something that caught my eye is the Diamondbacks at 13-7.
Yeah, I was gonna get into that actually next.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
so
they're
we'll
not a
switch
team
over to
that
the
I'm
NL West here.
yeah. I mean, they're basically the NL West is exactly approximately where I expected it. The Diamondbacks is the one piece that is kind of the curveball in there.
Yeah,
I think we both said that the Dodgers like are gonna win this division probably pretty convincingly. But then you have the Giants, Padres, and Diamondbacks, and those are the teams that are really going to be fighting for like second. We both said that the Diamondbacks are going to make the playoffs, and we both had respectively the Giants and the Padres making the playoffs. Either way it went, right? So, we both think that this is a playoff team, but they haven't really been playing like a playoff team or like the team we saw last year. And again, it's important to note that the Diamondbacks last year, I believe, started very well. And then in the summer, they kind of trailed off. You can correct me if I'm wrong there. I might have it
I
flip
think
flop.
I think I remember the same way you are.
They were playing like they weren't leading the division, right? But they were like, okay, this team is playing good ball. Like not no one thought like this is a World Series team besides Diamondbacks fan, but they were like, yeah, they're playing good ball. And then in the summer, I think they like slumped a little, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of fell back in the wild card standings. And then once the playoffs started, that was it. And then they got to the World Series. So
Yeah.
I'm not too worried yet, but 4-6 in the last 10, not great. If I just take a quick look at
See, one thing that really is the big surprise to me so far this season, not just the the Diamondbacks, is Corbin Carroll himself. He's not having a sophomore slump, batting 191,
yep,
294 on base percentage, and only like I saw his OPS earlier today. I think it's like a point 0.5. It's like right above 500 for his OPS. So
okay,
not having as great of a season, obviously, as he did last year. I think that may be one of the bigger factors here.
sure,
He actually has a negative WAR. It looks like negative zero point 0.1 WAR according to Fangraphs.
wow.
So, so yeah, definitely not ideal for Corbin Carroll coming off Rookie of the Year. Um, but I think it's kind of probably just a little bit of a sophomore slump.
It's
I
also early.
think he'll hit on it. Yeah, he'll find his way there. I mean, there's a lot of superstars having slumps right now, like Judge, Carroll, and even Trout a little bit. Even though he was leading the league in home runs, he went down yesterday. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, it's just think the one thing that really sticks out to me is the Diamondbacks. Like we said, we both had super high expectations for them. They went out and got Jordan Montgomery, Jock Peterson. But
Yeah.
I think Corbin Carroll, he's
I
kind
think
of
we
the
would
heart and
agree that
soul.
I think we'd agree that they were in the World Series last year and they got better in the
Yeah,
offseason.
yeah,
Like
I
this
agree.
team improved from last year and they were good
Yeah,
last year. So,
yeah,
you know, again, like there was an expectation, you go to the World Series, even though you kind of shocked the world and got there.
Yeah. But
You
yeah,
have an
I
expectation
think
now to perform.
yeah. Do you think they're letting the pressure get to them a little bit?
I still think that they're a wild card team.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
still think when it's all said and done, adding someone like Jordan Montgomery is huge.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they still do have playmakers. They've still got batters. Do you expect this out of Corbin Carroll through September, through the summer months? Maybe because he's young, but like I don't know. There's still other dudes who, it was Corbin Carroll didn't carry them to the World Series. There were other dudes on that team that did their part. So,
Yeah. I mean,
it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Ketel Marte, Christian Walker, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., and Moreno, like they're all doing their thing. It looks like,
Yeah.
according to Fangraphs here, and even our guy Blaze Alexander,
Yeah.
he's having a solid season to start. Looks like, so I just think I don't want to say it's all on Corbin Carroll, but
And
I
their
kind of
run
disagree.
differential is
I think
plus 25.
he was kind of like electric last year. I think he kind of got the
Yeah.
offense started. He stole bases. I think he's just having trouble getting on base, and that's where
Yeah.
most of the problems is probably why they're losing games at a higher rate than they did last year. But I think they'll turn around. I really do. I hope they do. I think they're a fun team to watch. Um,
Yeah. And their run
so
differential is plus 25,
yeah,
which is very weird because the only other team in their division with a positive run differential is the Dodgers.
you're right.
Like San Francisco Giants got a negative 17 run differential and they're second.
Yeah,
I mean, granted, they're 14 and 15, they're below 500. And those three teams, like I said, the Giants, Padres, and Diamondbacks are separated by a game and a half. So it's like in 2 days from now, the Diamondbacks could be back in second if they have a good series against the Dodgers. You
yeah.
know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it's all kind of fluid right now because it's all it's still early in the season. You don't want to jump the gun on one team over
Yeah,
the other, being like, oh, they're frauds or
right.
they're contenders versus pretenders. But I think it's just something to watch. Is this the true identity of the Diamondbacks? I hate to say that, but is this team just not what they're all cracked up to be? And was it lightning in a bottle last season? So we'll
Yeah.
see.
All right. Do you want to get over to the NL East real quick? I don't have too much to talk about. Phillies
Yeah,
and
it's about
Braves
what we expected.
both tied with 19 wins. Braves have
Yeah,
8 losses, Phillies have 11. But I think, like we said, kind of predicted, it's going to be Braves and Phillies pretty much for the one spot there. We think it's going to be the Braves, but the Phillies are obviously going to win a lot of games too. So they're kind of a lock for the wild card as long as they keep playing the way they are. But I
yeah,
think this is pretty much expected on both our ends here.
yeah. I mean, there's no real surprise here. I mean, the Mets did start pretty poor, and then they got hot, and
Yeah, they
now
did.
they're 4-6 in the last 10, so they're about 500. I think that's probably about what we expected them. I think we both had them a little bit below 500. I still would bet that happens. Um, I honestly, the biggest surprise here is probably the Marlins, right? And I know we've talked about it a couple times, but
Mm,
dude, 6-24 is bad. Like that's really bad.
yeah.
To
I
only
don't
have
think anyone
six
was expecting to be
to
that
the
bad.
season.
They made the playoffs last year. Next thing you know, they're 6-24.
Yeah, yeah, and they're awful at home. They're 2-15 at home. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So like that was a team we talked about in our preseason like predictions that we were like we both had the Marlins missing the playoffs, but we had them as like the first or second team out. And now suddenly they're the worst team in baseball out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
By a lot for the most part.
And they didn't really lose. Did they lose anybody substantial to
I
make
mean,
them like that?
I think Alcantara is down, but that's kind of really, yeah, Jazz is still there. Arias
Jazz,
is
yeah.
still there. Jake Berger's still there. Um, so
Tim Anderson, they
I'm not
brought
really
in
sure
veteran
what's
presence.
happening. Let me see runs scored.
Like really,
It looks like their pitching is really
is it?
killing them. I think they have the highest runs allowed in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they have the highest runs allowed in the league at 168. Oh, only behind the Rockies. Oh, or only in front of the Rockies, I should say. So,
And the thing that kind of sucks about that, man, is like 6-24 in May. Your season's kind of over.
it is. I don't think there's much coming back from that.
It's May, and it's kind of like, what do you have to watch for? Because you
Hmm.
play in a division that two teams are teams that we would
Significantly better,
consider
yeah.
not only significantly better, but two teams that we would say are like top five in their conference to make the World Series. Like these are two, like we would both be willing to say like the Phillies have a shot at the World Series and the Braves have a shot at the World Series.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, they might be able to jump a team like the Mets or the Nationals when it's all said and done, but it's like it wouldn't even be fun to watch as a fan. I almost feel bad because I it seemed like that there was like an expectation. Like with the Rockies, you kind of knew. With the White Sox, you kind of knew. With Oakland, even though Oakland's playing better, we'll get to that. You kind of knew like this team isn't like really gonna make any noise. They might have some cool moments, but like in the long run, they're not doing anything. But the Marlins were like, this is a team. Like a lot of people were like, yeah, they're gonna be that last wild card team, and now they're the worst team in baseball.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It sucks. I feel bad for the fan base, honestly. What fans that are out there of the Marlins. You just hate to see a team season effectively be over already. So
Hmm. Yeah. So Bray, we have 8.5 minutes left here, so I want to get
yeah,
to the AL side of things.
yeah,
So we cover that a little bit.
yeah,
But yeah, that's good. I just think no one really expected the Marlins to be this bad, like you said. Um,
yeah,
but it is what it is. I think their season, I think they're obviously toast now.
yeah.
If they can somehow make a comeback, it'd be crazy, but I just don't see it
We'll
happening.
see.
All right.
I don't
Not in
see
that
him not in
division
that
either.
conference.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, let's get to the AL side of things. Do you
yeah,
want to get into the AL to start? I mean, I don't really have any super hot takes. Similar to
yeah. I
the NL
mean,
Central, the AL Central is kind of a toss up too. You got the Royals, not counting the Twins out yet. Tigers are off to a good start.
yeah,
So I think that AL Central is a toss up if you want to get started. With the
yeah.
AL Central there.
I mean that's probably the most surprising of the conferences. I would say at
Guardians.
this
I forgot to
point.
mention the Guardians. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, not only it's surprising that a team like Kansas City is playing as well as they are. A team like Detroit, like we expected these teams to improve, but not to improve the way that
Yeah.
they've been playing. I think what is probably in this specific division is the Royals a plus 46 run differential and the Royals a plus 42 run differential. So it's not like they're like winning like 1-0 or 2-1 games every single day. Like they're scoring runs
Yeah.
and they're scoring runs against good teams. The Royals like a week or so ago swept the Astros, and I know again the Astros haven't looked the way they have, right? But there's still dudes in that lineup. Like Altuve is batting; he's like one of the best batters in the league right now. So like I look at that and I'm like that a month into the season, I know they've lost their last three, but like that could be we could get two teams out of that conference that make the playoffs. We could have a division winner and a wild card winner. Say Cleveland wins it or whoever wins it. You can see the Royals make the wild card, which
Yeah.
would be
Could.
insane for that franchise considering
Right.
last year they were the second worst team in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be awesome too if they did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, one thing Brandon says that to me about the AL Central, we both had the Twins, I think, win the division. I know I had them. I think you did too.
Yeah.
The Twins started off really slow, but they've won 9 of their last 10 on an
They're
8 game
hot. They're
win
the hottest team in
streak.
baseball.
They're hot, so I don't want to count them out just yet. I think this division is going to be really fun, a lot more fun than people expected. Because when you think of the Guardians and the Royals and the Tigers and Twins, they're not typically like the marketing team that like MLB really
Yeah.
promotes. But I think towards the
Yeah.
end of the season, I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to be fun to watch. Um, but yeah, I think the Twin. I'm still going to take the Twins just because I took them early in the season. I know they are 4 games behind right now. Um, but good thing they went on this win streak because they'd be in a bigger hole. Um, but yeah, I just think this is going to be overall really fun aside from the White Sox, obviously. So I'll
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
a close eye on this. I think Guardians exceeded both of our expectations. I knew the Royals were going to be streaky. I didn't think they'd be this streaky. I know it's early in the season, but I
Yeah.
thought I think we mentioned this last episode. We're kind of like I think Royals are going to be good next year. They're a year
Yeah. They're
early,
like a
but
year early.
but yeah, I just think it's going to
Um,
be really fun to watch, and we'll see how it goes. I think all these teams can keep it up. I don't think they're necessarily pretenders as of right now. But so we'll see how it goes once the season rolls along. But I'm still gonna roll with the Twins to win the division, mostly because I
yeah.
I picked them in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and we trust them the most. They've kind of been there. right? They
Yeah.
were in the playoffs last year. They won a playoff series against the Blue Jays. The
Yeah.
thing that is interesting about that division is, besides the White Sox, like I can sit here today and make an argument for any one of those teams winning the division, right? The Twins are the hottest team in baseball. The Detroit Tigers are 10-4, have a 10-4 record on the road. The Royals are, I hate to say like the Diamondbacks last year, but they kind of give me that feeling that like if you let them into the dance, they could make a lot of noise. They're early, they're young, but they could exceed a lot of expectations. And the Cleveland Guardians have, I mean, they have the best record, of course, right? But there's a lot of, I'd like to say, veteran players on that team at this point. I know
Hmm.
Shane Bieber went down, but you know, my point being is I could sit here today and make an argument for any one of those four teams going forward. I'm still going to roll with the Twins, but
Yeah.
I would not be shocked if
Good
the
point.
Tigers got hot, or
Yeah.
if the Twins continued to roll and won, 17 out of 20 games or something
Yeah.
crazy like that.
Yeah, the thing to me with the Twins is their best player went down the first week of the season, Royce Lewis, who's been
Yeah,
battling injuries since like he kind of first started in his career,
yeah.
like 2022. He was
Hmm.
probably gonna be the best player this year. He goes down. Is kind of trying to work his way back. It seems like, but there's not
Yeah,
a certain timetable for his return. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I just think it's another note. Just wanted to mention. All right, so let's get. We have like 4 minutes left. Brandon,
Yeah, no,
you want to get
yeah.
into
So I
the let's
mean,
get
in the
into the West a
West,
little bit with the Mariners.
yeah, I mean, the West isn't, there's not really much to talk about because we've kind of already talked about it here. The Astros are still kind of stinking it up. I don't know about you, but I'm still like okay with being like, they're going to figure it out. They're going to make the playoffs. They might be a wild card team at this point. I mean, they are 9-19, but they're still a team that once they settle in June, July, August, I would expect them to play good ball. The Angels are not making the playoffs specifically. If you're going to have Trout out with a torn meniscus for a little bit, you're in trouble. Oakland, cool story that they're playing decent ball. Long run, do you trust them? No, not really. But the Mariners, I picked the Mariners to make the playoffs in this division. I was called kind of crazy, and they're 16-13 and playing the best baseball in that division for sure
Yeah,
right now. So kind of proud of that, but we'll see what happens. I would still expect, Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros to kind of figure it out and get there. So
yeah. I think the
that's all I
Mariners
got there.
Mariners did surprise me because, like I said, they didn't really make any moves this offseason to be better, but they're obviously leading the division right now, and so yeah, they've so far exceeded my expectations, and maybe they could keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Especially with the Rangers not playing as good as everyone thought they would, but kind of a World Series hangover there. No, not really a surprise. But I think Rangers and Mariners are going to be the teams to watch in that division. Come August and September. Not count out
And
the
then the
Astros just
East.
yet, but yeah, let's get into the East. I
Yeah.
think we have like a minute left.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
not there's
minute
not really
30.
even much to say here. I
Our
mean,
Yanks are losing
all
to
the
the Orioles right now, 4-2.
yeah, Soto did hit a homer, so
Yes.
there's some life there. But all these teams have are basically all 500. I mean, the Tampa
Yeah.
Bay Rays are 14-13. That's the worst team in the division.
It's the
So
best
it's like
division in baseball, without a doubt.
it's a very competitive division. It's a lot of good teams, meaning that these division games are going to matter a hell of a lot more than they might in, you know, a different division.
Yeah.
It's, they're going to kind of be the make or break games, I would say, at this
Yeah.
point. That's why, our Yankees are playing in Camden Yards right now and they're losing. I don't want to lose. You don't want to get swept by the Orioles, considering that they're, but we're basically tied with them at this point. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. The Red Sox being 16-13, they'll probably fall off. I'm not too worried there.
Damn, it's a hot take. I think they're playing decent ball. Um, I just have a good operation. I wouldn't count them out, but we'll see.
I'm not counting them out, but there's other teams that are better roster wise that, once everything plays out, I trust them more.
All right, got to wrap it up here. Thank you for
Yeah.
listening. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Go Yankees! Let us know who you think are surprises and who's not in the comments below. See you next time.
Yeah. See you. See you. Bye bye.